morning, class. My name is Akili Grafton, and today I'm going to be redoing my informative speech on tone deafness. If you have tone deafness, and can it be cured? Now, before I get into my topic, I am going to jog your memory for a little bit so I can give you a sense of where I'm going to be going within this topic. Now, remember way back in maybe middle school when you and a certain amount of classmates had to go to your school's library and take what was known as a listening test. Well, according to kidshealth.org, 1 in 3 children out of 1,000 children have a hearing loss, and sadly, this is a very, very common birth defect. And since this is a common birth defect, researchers have stated that within the first few years of a child's life, it is a critical part of their life to have a social, emotional, and cognitive development. And even the most mild and partial hearing loss can affect a child's ability to learn speech and language, whether if it's um, any language or any type of musical skill that they wish to take on at that time or whatever age. So they thought that if these defects can be identified within the first 3 months of their life, then later on down the line, when they get older, these defects can be overcome if checked regularly, resulting in what we have now, which is our listening test. Now, before I get into tone deafness within a musical perspective, I'm going to tell you what a listening test is. Now, a listening test is when a proctor that is going to be in that library setting, they take noise cancellation headphones, like so, and they will tell you to put them on, and they will actually ask you if you can hear any type of beeping. If you can hear the beeping, then that's great. Then they'll move on with their process. If you cannot hear the beeping, then what they'll do is increase the frequency within their headphones so you can actually hear the beeping so they can continue on with the process. So if you hear the beeping, then they will tell you to see to differentiate between the pitch of the beeps, whether if it's higher or lower to higher, or if it's same from the one that they heard prior. And if you do hear very well, and that means, of course, then hooray, you have a very great sense of hearing. If not, then they'll tell you that you need some type of medical attention so you can actually increase your hearing ability so it won't affect you in your future years of school. Now that you know the basic idea of what a listening test is, now let me get into tone deafness within a musical perspective. Now, when people hear the term tone deaf, they normally think of a person who cannot differentiate between notes or have a poor discrimination of notes, and if they were to play an instrument or sing, they would have a very difficult time or make multiple mistakes in making music or singing. Now, this is often treated like a diagnosis or a fundamental trait that people cannot change. But in actuality, only about 5% of people actually have this said true tone deafness, which is called amusia. And like I said, only 5% have this type of condition, and it is actually a clinical cognitive impairment, which means that a brain cannot process musical sound properly. Now, a vast majority of people who have tone deafness aren't tone deaf at all. Normally, people who believe that they are tone deaf actually have a basic and proper discrimination of being tone deaf, or not being tone deaf rather. They know the difference between notes, making them think that they are tone deaf, which is very confusing, but it makes sense in a way. So, those who believe that they are tone deaf aren't really tone deaf. They actually know the difference between notes. They just lack musical training. So if they have musical training, then they'll be able to play instruments such as piano, guitar, etc. Now, as far as singing is concerned, if you have musical training, will that help you sing better? Probably not, but it will help you as far as the instrument is concerned. And then when you do sing in your car, in the shower, wherever you may sing, then you will be able to differentiate what notes that you are singing. Now, in conclusion, to summarize what I just said, people who suffer from the brain impairments, amusia, it's a very small number of people that have it. Only 5% of people have it, and people who believe that they have bad pitch or are tone deaf aren't really tone deaf. They just lack musical training. So, in conclusion, tone deafness isn't really a diagnosis. It can, and if you believe it is a diagnosis, it can be cured. It may not help you sing any better than what you do if you sing poorly, but as far as an instrument goes, if you would love to play an instrument, that would be very beneficial to you if you have musical training. Thank you for your time and have a great day.